All right. And I think we're on. Okay, great. Yep, we're live. Um, hey, you guys. Before we start, it feel pretty stupid to not acknowledge what's currently going on over essentially the murder of George Floyd. Here at the Smack Drop Podcast, almost half of us are people of color. Vince, RN, and Jay. And although that we've always stuck by the mantra that we don't want to use our show as a political platform, we still have to show up and support our friends and family here on the show, and of course to our viewers and everybody else in general, because that's what good human beings should do. A lot of people are hurting right now, and there's a lot of injustice going around. Black lives do matter, and it's dumb to even have to say that to people in 2020, because we're all human beings and we all deserve love and the pursuit of happiness here in the States and everywhere else for that matter. And personally speaking, although it is uncomfortable to talk about, because on a personal level, I can't relate to any of the shit that's been going on, it is a conversation that should be had. And so I'm trying to start it here on the show, and I encourage other people to reach out and support each other as well. And hopefully, because shit is terrible right now, hopefully we can start to get through this and regain some peacefulness and order to life, because 2020 has been a shitty year, and this is definitely nothing that we need to be going stacking on top of it. So to Vince, RN, Jay, and everybody else, the people of color, we love you guys. And we just want to, hopefully we can all get through this together.
You mentioned nobody wants to get political. When it comes to entertainment, which is what we're doing, you keep that shit out of it. That's what people do, but now is not the time to be silent.
Yeah.
Shit's happening because people stop being silent. And I will keep it short and brief. Do not be silent. Voice your opinion. Let everybody know what side you're on. Black lives do matter. Voice your opinion and keep it going. Let's change this shit.
Yes. So thank you guys for hearing that out, and we encourage you to spread that message as well. But with that being said, let's get into the show.
Hey, this is Brett the Hitman Hart, and you're listening to the Smacked Raw Podcast.
All right, and we're back. Thank you guys for joining us here at the Smacked Raw Podcast, Wrestling News World's exclusive recap show, also found right at youtube.com/Smacked Raw Podcast, and pretty much everywhere else podcasts are found. We are your hosts, Kyle and Rob, the Dream Team, the OGs, the original guys that started the show. Holy cow, Rob. I can't remember
it's
the
over
last
a year
time.
ago, man. It's crazy.
It's been
Crazy.
a year.
Freaking nuts.
When's the last time you and I did a show together?
It's been a while, man. It's been a while. It was AEW like a couple months ago, man. It's been a while.
It's been a minute. Well, thank you for joining me tonight. Usually we have RN on the show. Vince too, but Vince wanted some time off of Raw. I don't blame him. He works hard as hell on the show. Yeah, man. So we're going to be covering Raw tonight. Before we do, let's get our plugs out of the way. Once again, go check out WrestlingNewsWorld.com, man. They have awesome news articles, interviews, hot takes. Go check out the guys. They're wonderful. And then, of course, if you want to show up with a shiny title belt that's authentic, go to Belts by Dan. Hook you up with a wrestling belt, MMA, boxing. They're all legit. And, of course, tell them Smack Draw Podcast sent you. It would greatly help out the show.
I still say Cody Rhodes needs to hit him up. That damn ugly ass TNT title.
Yeah, Cody needs to hit him up for sure, man. Oh, man. But with all that stuff out of the way, let's go ahead and get into tonight's Raw. Oh, man. What a filler episode this was. What? Oh, my God. I sat here and was like, dude, I can't think of anything of note. I was reaching out on Twitter. I was like, can someone help me out here? Have I missed something? Like... I don't know, man. It wasn't terrible, but there was nothing nothing to write home about. Like, you could have missed this episode of Raw and then picked up next week, and you would have missed nothing. Like, well, besides maybe the Rey segment.
What makes it worse for me is, like, I haven't been watching Raw and SmackDown, like, since they lost the crowd, and, like, what caused me to stop watching it was them throwing out the filler Royal Rumble and WrestleMania matches. Bro, I already seen all this, and, like, I don't like matches. If I know the outcome of a match, I don't care how good the match is, I don't want to watch it. It's just me. I don't want to watch it. And they were shoving all that in my face. So I stopped watching Raw and SmackDown, and I'm paying attention on the internet and on Twitter on what happened. So I was kind of out of the loop on storylines, and the fact that tonight was a filler episode that kind of.
Yeah, I mean, for an episode to come back on.
Like I told you guys in the chat, Seth Rollins took up the first 40 minutes of Raw. The first 40 minutes. I don't like Seth Rollins. I don't like the Monday Night Messiah. I'm not into it. If I wasn't doing this with you right now, I would have turned Raw off and would have been playing Xbox, watching it around. Look at Twitter what happened again. But here I am. I sat through it, but it was bad.
I would legit give Seth, this episode. Man, he's for the greater good.
It's boring, man. Like I even told you guys in the chat, and like I wasn't joking. Like I did hit the alcohol a little too hard before Raw started, but I wasn't joking. When Seth was talking, I legit heard peanuts. Wah, 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 wah,
parents from Charlie Brown.
I'm just staring like, what do you talk? What? Do something.
Oh my
gosh! Stop talking. Who is the guy that was with him? Not Buddy Murphy, but the other guy.
Austin Theory. So
I have no idea who that
Austin
guy is.
Theory. So about a month or two ago, shortly after the crowdless Raws were going on, they created a faction with Andrade, Angel Garza, and Austin Theory. Austin Theory recently got booted out of the group, and Seth Rollins picked him up, which is good for him. He's a young guy. You know, he's got potential, so I do like seeing young talent, and he kind of grows on you. At first, he seemed like nothing, and obviously he wasn't given anything to do on this episode, but he's definitely got a lot of potential, I would say, for sure. I was kind of happy the Seth segment took up so much time because I had to drive home, which takes up pretty much the first hour. So my notes didn't have to be like, I didn't have to try and take too many notes while I was driving, which, by the way, I use voice to text. All right. I don't sit there and try to type while I'm driving. I'm just saying, I'm just putting it out there. I work for AT&T. It can wait. Okay. But anyways, so the show did open up, like you mentioned, with Seth Rollins. He doesn't believe that Rey can announce his retirement because it was previously announced that Seth was going to host it. So Seth's going to do it for him. He goes over once again. Rey was chosen to be sacrificed for the greater good.
What about the greater good?
And that was pretty much it. Seth ran a video package. Going through Rey's career was really heartfelt, but then right at the end, there's the twist. It shows the attack on Rey, the eye being jammed into the steel steps, which, by the way, is still one of the most gruesome things I think I've seen on Raw in a long time. But that was pretty much it. I didn't even realize that was the official ceremony. I thought that it was going to be, he was kind of like leading into it, and then it would be a segment later on. So later on when they had the call with Rey, it really confused me. I thought there was going to be more to it. It was confusing all around.
Especially when all you hear is, wah, 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 wah. Wait, what? Wait, what? What just happened?
Yeah. Now, the segment did lead into the opening match, which a lot of people were hyped on. Alistair Black and Seth Rollins, which, man, if you could give these guys like 20 minutes, no shenanigans, let them just tear the house down, it'd be incredible. Their match was pretty good, though. I ain't gonna lie. It wasn't a pay-per-view level match.
It took a while to pick up. Yeah. That was my problem. Like, you already had me bored, and then your match was boring to start. Like, I mean, I wouldn't say boring, but it wasn't. It was you already lost me. You didn't get me back. So once the match started picking up, I didn't even realize until it was almost over.
Right, because at that point, they've already lost you, so you're not fully invested paying attention.
Right.
I run into that issue at times, too. I'm like, I should be taking notes, but this junk is just filler. I'm playing on my phone, and then before I know it, I'm like, oh, damn, I missed that whole promo. which, like I said, there wasn't much tonight. Early in the match, Black was sent outside. It looks like Theory and Murphy are going to get in on it, so out comes Carrillo as backup with the steel chair. There's not really much done with them, and Alistair Black does win in the end via roll-up, so that was cool. Alistair Black got a win.
It was a good roll-up. I'm not a big fan of the roll-up, but that was a good roll-up. He had him all kinds of rolled up. It was believable.
He had him extra rolled up. Yeah, so Black won. He beat Seth, man, clean. It was great. Of course, it was short-lived. Murphy and Theory come in. They continue to beat down Black. They hold him up, make him watch Carrillo get curb stomped by Seth Rollins, and then of course Black himself gets stomped. And this feud continues. I wonder who will be the third man now that Rey is injured, because you got to even the odds. You can't have a faction of 3 taking on a faction of 2. Later on, we may have alluded to who might be getting involved in that. Rob, do you recall anything occurring before the HBK segment?
I was not paying attention because they said HBK was coming out. So, like, I was tweeting, like, HBK, and I was talking to you guys. HBK, I didn't even pay attention.
Let's take a
so
quick...
I don't know.
Let's hop over to WWE's Twitter line, because luckily for us, they keep their stuff in chronological order. If anything's to note that happens on show, WWE's Twitter will always have it covered. They've
draft lists in chronological order.
What's that?
They also keep draft lists in chronological order.
Oh my god. Let's see here. My internet needs to be a little bit quicker. Here we go. So yeah, we got the return of Raw Talk. I wonder if that means the Smack Talk, or Talking Smack, excuse me, is coming back. Let's see here. No, it doesn't. I mean, if something happened, I'm not seeing it, because it looks like it cuts from the Seth stuff to Raw Talk, and then maybe Zelina Vega had a backstage segment with Charlie Caruso, because I think I heard something like that happened. So yeah, I don't know. If we missed it, sorry guys.
Yeah, buddy.
HBK calls in via satellite, similar to Ric Flair.
Via satellite.
Yeah.
They made me think that I was about to hear his music and he was going to come out and dance and twirl and be fabulous. Nope.
No, man, they didn't give you that. They didn't give you that this time. Instead, instead HBK just gave his pick. He says Edge is his pick to win in the greatest match ever. What do you think of this tagline, Rob?
That's the dumbest thing I ever heard.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like, it's not, no. And like I said, I've been out of the loop with WWE for a while. No shade. I'm not, WWE sucks. I just haven't been watching it. And when I come back and this is the first thing I see, I'm like 50-year-old Edge and a Randy Orton. Nothing against either of them. I love Randy Orton. You guys know that. RKO is like my second favorite finisher ever. They're not.
Next to the Bailey to Belly, right?
Oh, man, that's the best move ever. I can't believe she doesn't use it anymore. It's so gimmicky that it's not even funny. Like, it's not even gonna come close. There's so many better matches out there. It's not gonna come close.
I know some people who will defend that junk, man. They will defend that Bailey to Belly.
I thought you were talking about the greatest match ever.
No,
I was gonna say to each their own. That's cool. You can think about it. No, not the Bailey to Belly. No, you're wrong. You are wrong.
I personally find the greatest match ever tagline hilarious now. Like, it doesn't even bother me because it's so surreal.
It's kind of like better than WrestleMania or bigger than WrestleMania or whatever the hell that was they did for Crown Jewel or whatever the hell it was.
Yeah, the greatest WrestleMania or whatever. Yeah. No, it's so silly that you can't take it seriously. MVP is backstage. He doesn't have time for Lana drama. I love that, man. Lana thinks MVP is kind of just a leech on Bobby Lashley to revive his career because he's washed up. And I love that.
I love it.
MVP hitter. He's like, you're wrong. But if that were true, wouldn't it be the same for you? Oh, mic drop right there. Oh, man. Lana slapped the taste out of his mouth after that one.
I don't like this guy, man.
You don't like MVP?
Him. I don't like MVP at all. Not one bit at all. None whatsoever.
I think if you've been watching Raw.
If I would have seen him before,
No,
maybe.
not before like his original run, just his current run. These last couple weeks, because MVP to me, I've been saying it on Raw every week. He kind of started out like a wet fart to me. I was like, oh, whatever. But he has won me over because his heel manager tactic is way different. For one, he's pretty much not even a heel. He stepped in, got Bobby Lashley a title match for the first time in 13 years. What was Bobby doing before that? Handling the freaking ex-husband drama with Lana. So he came in and instantly put Bobby's career as the number one priority. He's had opportunities to have Bobby Lashley jump Drew McIntyre and say that's not how we're going to conduct business. If there's no contract, there's no contact. And so he's doing everything in like a legitimate manner, or at least attempting to. And I was like, dude, how's this guy a heel? He's putting the dude's career first. He's separating the drama with Lana. He ain't even feeding into it. But yet this guy's a heel manager. And yeah, if tonight was your first impression of him, there's nothing really to write home about. But the progression over the last month with him, I've just become a huge fan of MVP. But they ain't gonna do nothing for you, Rob. You just stepped in tonight.
No.
You know?
Nope.
You got your first.
I've seen him a couple times since he's been back. I just don't like to do
Yeah,
that.
he's also got some pretty sick Black Panther gear. Although he didn't wear it tonight. Apollo cuts a babyface promo in the ring, chooses Kevin Owens as his first title defense, which was a pretty good thing to do. It was kind of confusing, though. Like, Kevin Owens and KO comes out, and he's like, I feel like, you're taking pity on me. He's like, trust me, I want the belt. I did great things with the U.S. title. And then Kevin Owens hits him with the line. He's like, I'm sorry, though, because this means your title run's going to be extremely short, which that was pretty cool.
Apollo Crews looks so funny with a belt. It just doesn't match.
Right?
It doesn't match. He's still, in my eyes, a bottom Carter filler guy that's chasing the 24/7 title. It's weird. It's weird.
Yeah,
like, I didn't even know he won the
That's
title.
how he was with a lot of guys.
I mean, that's cool.
In a
no
lot of
criticism,
people's eyes.
But,
it's
like, I didn't even know
he
won the
only
title.
just recently overcame this.
Didn't he win it last week? I think they said he won it last week.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, he won it last week.
Yeah, he looks funny. He looks funny. I was all about Kevin Owens in this match, though.
Just want to say what's up to the people in the live chat. How you guys doing tonight?
What's up, chatter?
Raw was kind of boring, so I'm surprised anybody's joining us to listen to us talk about a boring show. But hey, we appreciate you being here.
I'm staying up late. I'm gonna end up with like 3 hours worth of sleep. So
just like the old days, huh? Yeah, man. I liked this touch right here. So into the match with Kevin Owens, like a UFC or MMA fight, Kevin Owens goes for a kick to the gut, and it travels a little south, and you get an accidental groin strike. And the referee stops the match. He doesn't DQ Kevin Owens. He acknowledges it was a mistake, and he gives Apollo Crews time to recover. And since they're both babyfaces, KO doesn't take advantage of it. I thought the whole spot was nice because you only usually see the groin kick as like a heel tactic. They've never positioned it as an accidental strike, like almost like a real sporting match. So I thought that was a nice touch. It was different. And it was actually pretty cool, too, as Kevin Owens, when they restarted the match, KO was like, you good? And he's trying to comfort Apollo, and then Apollo just blasts him. And you get this like aggressive brawl. Was turning out to be a good match. However, to protect both guys probably, they had Angel Garza and Andrade come out, attack them. The match gets tossed out. It gets restarted as a tag match, which sees, I believe, Garza go after KO's injured knee again. And then, but Apollo ends up picking up the victory, pinning Andrade for the second week in a row. That is huge, man. They're pushing Apollo. Couldn't be happier. I could not be happier that they're pushing that guy. Let's see what else. Oh, Rob, you haven't been watching. This stuff would have been right up your alley. Because we have seen basketball. We've seen axe throwing.
Oh my god!
Golf.
man, when they showed this, I'm like, what have I been missing? Oh my god, that would have been so about it.
Yeah, if there's anything going on Raw, this would have been up your alley, man.
I was so about this segment. The only thing, this is my only one mental note from tonight. I loved this segment. I absolutely loved it. I hope they keep this segment going until the score is 30-30. But this made the Viking Raiders aren't the Viking Raiders to me anymore. They're no longer the big badasses that are going to whoop your ass. Now they have comedy behind them, and it kind of ruined it.
Yeah, so that's been the criticism. It's been the criticism that there's supposed to be these, really badass guys that came in as the War Raiders. They had this really serious gimmick, and they were just hard-hitting badasses that just happen to have Ivar, who can do a lot of, athletic things for being a legitimate big guy. Yeah, so a lot of people are divisive on this. Honestly, a lot of people shit on it. I ain't gonna lie.
I totally see why.
I will say that this, out of the four, I think this was the best one. Because the other ones, they had some really confusing jokes that didn't hit. Notably, the golf one, Ivar was pulling turkey legs out of the golf hole or whatever you call it, along with a cup. He just kept pulling a million things out like it was a magic hat. It was stupid. This one, the jokes were kind of more simple and it flowed better, personally speaking. So walking into this, out of all these competitions, Street Profits are up by 2 to the Viking Raiders 1. We learn right away Street Profits cannot bowl. Ivar continues to be a ladies' man. That's been also the reoccurring theme too, is the women love Ivar apparently in all of these skits. But halfway through, we see Ivar raid the kitchen because he eats a turkey leg, and then he's even more hungry, so he raids the damn kitchen, almost gets him kicked out. And halfway through the match, it's 100 to 20 something with the Viking Raiders. But at this point, Street Profits, out comes the laser and smoke show, and allowing the Profits to come back only to lose by 1 when the grand finale is Ivar is tossed down the alley in one of the worst cut video clips you've ever seen. Oh my gosh, this was so silly, but it's not supposed to be taken seriously, so I liked it.
Right.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
I am all about this. Like we said, it makes the Viking Raiders, they lose their badassery. Yeah. Or however the hell you would say the word. They're no longer badasses because of this. I'll gladly trade it. Give me this all day.
Yeah.
All day. The laser show hitting and the smog coming out. Let's do it. I am so about this.
So the only thing that I've had a gripe with, and although I think they're leaning into my logic now, is they're supposed to have been heated rivals, right? But all this is doing has been forming a bromance, because everything they're doing, you do with your best friends. You go play ball. You play mini golf. You know what I mean? You go throw axes. That stuff you do with your friends, not when you're trying to go after a guy because you hate him.
What's funny though is when they first mentioned, like you said, I haven't been watching, so I didn't know this was a thing. They basically, however they worded it, they were like, the Viking Raiders and Street Profits have had a war or whatever.
Yeah. Instantly,
I thought the Street Profits are about to get their asses whooped. You're going to war with these guys, and then it showed this. I'm like, okay, this makes sense. They can do this. Yes. But if you were to go to war with the Raiders in the ring, the Street Profits would be smashed.
Well, and that's the thing. That's the reoccurring theme is the Street Profits do lose every time to the Viking Raiders. They can't beat them.
They can beat them in basketball, though.
Yeah, they beat them in basketball. They slaughtered them. Billie Kay had a match against Nikki Cross. She ends up beating her ahead of Bliss and Cross's tag team title match at SmackDown against Sasha and Bayley. Nothing too much to write home about here.
Except the fact that the Iconics are on TV.
Yes.
Nothing much to write home here. What are you talking about?
Yeah, because they were teasing a breakup a couple weeks ago. Kind of. They had a segment on which Billie Kay slapped... oh my God,
Peyton?
what? Peyton Royce, excuse me, thank you.
Yeah.
After Peyton cost them the match getting themselves DQ'd. But they quickly got away from that. A lot of Australia lost their damn mind when they saw that.
You can't break these two up. These two are amazing. They're so good together.
Hell no. Rey Mysterio was phoned in by satellite. I like this segment. I did. I liked this. He announces essentially there's no timetable on his return due to the eye injury. They're still kind of waiting it out. He even says, if it gets infected, that could cost him his career and his eye. When they ask him, are you retiring? He says, I don't know. That's the only part I didn't get. It was like, well, they mean right now, Ray. Are you retiring? Are you announcing it here and now or not? And he just replied with, I don't know if I am. Which I get why they're doing it. It just feels kind of like worded funny. But when Ray starts delivering his message to Dominic, to Seth, I like this because Dominic came into the picture again. We've been wondering where Dominic went. Dominic obviously wants revenge for his dad. And he closes the whole thing out, playing into, he says, an eye for an eye, Seth. So maybe
Dominic's learning how to be a badass.
He can talk a little bit better. He needs work, but he's coming along.
Like, at first, I wasn't about it. Like, when we first got him teased about maybe he might take Ray's place, like, when he first started out, I wasn't really about it.
Yeah.
But like you said, the way he said an eye for an eye and he stared at the camera, I was like, you're ready, dude. Like, go whoop some ass. Let's go.
Yeah, man. I'd like to see
I was
that.
definitely about it. Now, my question is, do you think Ray is going to give him the mask?
It's still out there. Dark Sage 9117 inside of on the Twitch channel. He says he's got an interesting question for us. Well, shoot, my friend. We'll go ahead and answer it whenever it comes up.
Questions are good.
I do kind of want to see Dominic in a match. Like, not like a high-profile match, because obviously he still looks like he'd get squashed by anyone in the mid-card above.
Just about.
Yeah.
But a match that's not a squash.
I'd like to actually see like him hold on to like a 5 or 10 minute match, see what he can do. I'm wondering, you'd think he's going to play a role with Alistair Black and Carrillo, which those guys are so good in the ring, a 3-on-3 tag match. That might work. Get Dominic in there. He can be like a hot tag, get like a minute or two of offense, and then go ahead and tag himself out. So that might be a good flow. Get him into like a little tag scene. That'd be pretty cool. I'd be all about that. Have him square up with Austin Theory. That'd be neat. Let's see here. Oh yes. So we got a new champion. Rob Gronkowski has lost his 24/7 title to R-Truth during a TikTok video.
He's so bad.
Oh, well, the reign of terror is over. Okay, folks, it's done. So done.
Go
Dude,
catch footballs, man. Catch footballs.
The guy that was with them, I don't recognize him, but he spoke the truth. He's like, dude, you're with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, man. We gotta get serious. Like, enough of this drama.
You're bad at it. You're not good.
Yeah.
And those who know me know that it takes a lot for me to say somebody's bad at comedy.
Oh man.
Not good, dude.
It's all right. Well, we only saw him on TV like 3 times. We saw him.
He ruined my WrestleMania, man. I literally muted the TV when he was on it.
Yeah.
I legit muted my television.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Longest reigning champ. That's how it went. Longest reigning champ, and it ended on a TikTok video.
Longest reigning champ. That's cool, but have you held it 72 times? No, you haven't.
Let's see. Oh, so Dark Sage, he just hit us up with the question. Hold on, let me read this. This is a long question. Goodness gracious. All right, okay, I'll read it out. I just wanted to read it ahead of time, make sure there wasn't anything crazy in there. It says,
Right.
I know WrestleMania next year is in L.A., but I have felt for a while WWE should run it at Raymond James Stadium and do the WrestleMania we never got this year. Obviously, we would have a different card and matches, but I think it would be something fans could get behind. Obviously, that would mean LA would get pushed back to 38 as a location. Do you think fans would be for this? or is it far-fetched? To be honest with you, at this point, making plans for either stadium is far-fetched. We have no idea what the state of the country is going to be come April next year, whether we're going to be doing live shows in front of audiences. California has already come out and said that they don't intend on doing arena and stadium shows for some time to come. Even I think like one mayor said, like, until there's an actual vaccine or cure. But I mean, in a perfect world where we could reschedule it, I would say no. You've already hyped it in LA. It looks like we might get the return of The Rock finally. Miz might get a crowning moment there because they're both like Hollywood. But I would say do the reverse. Bring it to Raymond James the following year to make up for it. So that's just my opinion.
My opinion would be, honestly, you lost out. They lost out. Shit happens.
Yeah.
It's tough, but I mean, contracts are contracts. And when you get contracts signed for something that big, they're signed down the road. They know where they're going to be in WrestleMania in 10 years from now. So,
That's what it feels like, right?
I mean, it might not be 10 years, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah,
they have contracts down the road.
They announced WrestleMania during WrestleMania.
Yeah. So it's at least a year in advance, but it's at least 2 or 3. So, I mean, you're having to go rework this contract to fix this contract to fix that contract. It's not.
I say get WrestleMania over in the UK, man. Get those boys a WrestleMania. That place would come unglued somewhere over in the UK.
He'd sell out instantly. He'd sell out faster than he sells out here.
And that crowd would give it to him the whole night, man. They've been itching for a Mania over there. Granted, there's a lot of stuff that sucks because our schedule, like how we would view it, would be all screwed up. But I mean, screw it. Those boys stay up till 4 or 5 in the morning watching pay-per-views.
You're right. They do it every day. Put it in a soccer stadium and give them the horns the whole time. Let's go.
Oh shoot! All right, back to Raw. So this was the match that got kind of leaked online last week. Nia Jax squashed Kairi Sane again for about the 30th time. Sane at one point got tossed into the ring steps face first and was busted open. So this was the news that leaked.
So this was the injury.
Yes.
Okay, I thought I knew it happened, but I was like, she's back already. I thought she got busted up, but it happened tonight. Okay,
yeah, because
I would have paid a little more attention if I would have knew that.
Yeah,
like I knew it happened, but I didn't realize it was tonight.
Yeah.
Why do they got that little girl who? There was one point where it reminded me of Marco Stunt. Legit, like jokes aside. Why do they got her in there fighting that big old girl? Come on, dude. Like, you can't
Sane is a glutton for punishment when it comes to her facing Nia Jax because she doesn't even come close. And she's lost to her like 5 or 6 times now.
I don't get it.
There was a lot of drama.
I tweeted earlier who should take Bayley's SmackDown title. And it was a poll. And like the question was Lacey Evans. And then the other option was the sassy Southern Belle as a joke. And my buddy Wally responded with a gif of Nia Jax. And I said, oh, this response hurt my finger. You just injured my finger.
That's good. Yeah, because the drama was that Nia Jax obviously by this point has a reputation of hurting people, injuring them. The list is long. I ain't going through it. Including Kairi Sane just a couple weeks ago. The reason the buckle bomb just got banned. Botched the damn buckle bomb. Although I would say because the initial report was everyone jumped on Nia, and then another report came out that it was kind of just mutual. The fault didn't really fall on either person. I will say that Kairi went into those steps different than how they normally do. Usually when you're tossed into them, you go into them like shoulder first. You
kind of buckle your head. And
yeah, Kairi Sane went like face first and busted her head open. It did look like she stumbled. So I don't think this time necessarily was Nia Jax's fault. I think it was just Kairi and Nia were both just not prepared for the spot. Something happened, but I don't think you could justly put the blame on Nia for this one. Pretty much that was it. I don't know how much the match went on afterwards. It did look pretty edited, but Kairi was tossed back in the ring, took a leg drop, and that was it. The picture surfaced online, man, on Twitter, and boy, it was gruesome. It was a big gash over the eye. Did you see it, Rob?
No, I did not. I'm gonna look it up right now.
Yeah, you go ahead, look it up while I go into the next segment. It's pretty gnarly. Let's see. Oh, Randy Orton continued the weekly tradition of him and Edge cutting backstage promos in the dark surrounding the greatest match ever at Backlash. Dude, I'm stoked for this. I'm stoked.
Dang, dude.
Looks bad, right?
Ow.
Looks pretty rough.
Ooh. Dang. It's off to that. Jesus Christ.
Dark Sage, I see your questions. We'll go ahead and answer after the show. If you make them related to Raw, I can kind of answer them on air because they'll be kind of relating to what we're talking about. But of course, we'll answer all your questions and anybody else's. If they're not related to Raw, we'll run through them after the show. Just to let you know ahead of time, I won't be ignoring your comments. Let's see here. Yeah, Randy Orton. And which, by the look of my notes, are actually not far away from. So we got our
We're getting there already.
Yeah, we got our second champion versus champion match since Friday with Charlotte now taking on Asuka. This was actually pretty good. I ain't gonna lie. They had a great segment where Charlotte and Asuka were trading submission attempts back and forth, which resulted in Charlotte deadlifting Asuka into a German suplex. That
was
actually
nice.
looked vicious and badass. Unfortunately, the ending was crap.
I lost all respect for Nia Jax tonight. All respect.
God, dude.
It's.
You know,
What are you doing? What are you doing?
we have Charlotte on Raw, NXT, and SmackDown, and the constant argument is there too much Charlotte? And I'll tell you one
There
thing.
can't be too much Charlotte.
It doesn't feel as bad as seeing Nia Jax twice on the same show. That is
Yeah.
easily too much Nia. Like,
Yes, I agree. And the second time imitating Asuka with her mask on, you look stupid.
Yeah, so that's what happened.
Just
So Asuka gets booted to the outside of the ring. While she's out there, it seems like there's a botch in the production because Asuka's music plays. And then after a short bit, you pan to the top of the ramp, and there's Nia Jax wearing Asuka's mask, dancing to the music, imitating her. She takes off the mask. She had the eye makeup. That eye makeup was well done. That leads me to believe there's a makeup artist that does that. Asuka ain't doing that herself. But Asuka gets counted out, turns around realizing she's counted out. She turns back around, gets ran over by Nia Jax. That's it. I guess that's how you protect both Asuka and Charlotte. You can't have Charlotte get beat 2 days in a row. And then you don't want Asuka to get beat, like pinned or submitted right after getting appointed the Raw Women's title. It is what it is. I ask, why even have the match, to be fair?
Funny story. I've already mentioned it. Raw didn't have my full attention tonight.
Yeah.
We already went over that. Like I knew it was Asuka Charlotte, okay, but like I was on Twitter, whatever the hell I was doing, and Asuka's music hit, and for a split second, I was so goddamn confused. I was like, wait a second, I thought Charlotte was that Sane out there? Is this
I was
Asuka
confused too,
coming for a
man.
Rescue, and then I see Nia Jax, and then I like the fog cleared. I'm like, oh okay, but I was legit like, whoa, wait a second, I thought I was just watching her in the match, but now she's.
Yeah, it was weird
It
at
was
first,
legit
man.
brain
I didn't
fart.
know what was going on.
Right.
Backstage, Lana informs, I think Kayla. I'm not sure. I can't remember if it was Kayla or Charlie. That although she can't accompany Bobby Lashley for his matches, that doesn't mean she can't accompany Bobby Lashley during an MVP match against Drew McIntyre, which is the main event of the evening, which led directly into the main event, which this was silly. It's MVP taking on Drew McIntyre. You got Bobby Lashley in MVP's corner. Before the match starts, Lana comes out. So we're led to believe Lana's going to play a part in this match, right? Never happens. The match barely gets out the gate. For one, the match started, I looked down. It was like
We had,
10:55, 10:56.
Yeah, we had 3 minutes left.
Yeah.
There was 3 minutes left when that bell rang. I'm like, what are they?
Yeah. What are they going to cram in here? So maybe they had something planned, but due to time constraint, I don't know. It was pre-taped. You could have edited it. I don't know what the hell happened here. MVP did get a little offense in on a distracted Drew McIntyre, threw him into the ring post, got a couple strikes in, hit like a Sami Zayn's haluva kick in the corner. That was actually pretty good. but ultimately still succumbed to the Claymore kick in the end.
What was up with the countdown before the Claymore kick?
So Drew, since he turned babyface, he does a countdown leading into the Claymore. I'm not about it. I've spoken out about this. It feels weird. It's the only part of him that feels manufactured. The Dudley Boys started doing this for the 3D when they came back and was a nostalgia act.
That's cool. That's a 3D. Count me. That's cool. This is just.
But I mean, but it was clearly just a babyface thing to get the crowd to do something with you. You could tell.
Okay, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, and it didn't feel like, if I had to put money on it, because I don't know, if I had to put money on it, it wasn't their idea. It was backstage like, oh, you guys are faces. We need fan interaction. Just count down your finisher, and it feels like that's what's going on with Drew. Luckily, Drew's character otherwise is left to his own devices everywhere else. This doesn't detract it from me. His personality's still on point. His in-ring ability, everything else is
He's even more badass than the
great.
last time.
Yeah, so
I must say that.
So I ain't gonna sit here and piss and moan because he likes to count down his Claymore. Because if that's
It's
all
weird, but
yeah, but if that's all that backstage is gonna dabble with, okay, let him have that one thing.
It's such good shit.
After Drew picked up the victory, Lashley came in. He had about 10 seconds left of airtime. He quickly locked in the full Nelson, and just as he got it locked, they cut off. The show was done. It was a kind of an awkward ending to the show, but yeah, that was it, man. Like I said, Raw was just like a C. Like, I didn't feel like anything was terrible, but then again, nothing really stood out that was like too great, other than say the Rey Mysterio segment. I thought that was good, but other than that, yeah, it was what it was. It's a filler. They pre-taped it. They obviously shot this immediately following last week's Raw, so the performers are probably tired. You know, it was more or less they just had to get through the show. So it is what it is. We still have a lot of big shows to look forward to. NXT and AEW, of course. Got the SmackDown Women's Tag Team titles being put up on SmackDown. Or just the Women's Tag Team titles being put up on SmackDown, excuse me. And then, of course, NXT In Your House Sunday. Looks like only got one more question, and then I guess we'll call it a wrap. Dark Sage, who dropped the question about WrestleMania earlier, he says this is kind of like a statement, actually. He says, I also will say I do not believe we've seen the end of Brock Lesnar or Goldberg. I've heard rumors next year's Mania having Brock in the main event again as cool. WWE champion.
Okay, cool.
And he's like, I know the story's not heading there right now. He's like, but I got this sinking feeling. Dude, trust me, after Brock's reign of terror, we all have that sinking feeling. He can just pop up and be champ again.
I'm okay with it.
He predicts SummerSlam. He'll come in and squash. Oh, squash? No. Not if it's Drew McIntyre. He ain't squashing him. And then maybe at Crown Jewel, when they're overseas, we'll probably get Goldberg, who will squash the Universal. So you're talking Mania next year, having both Goldberg and Brock walking in as champs. Oh boy, I don't know, man. I think WWE has learned by now that
you will piss off so many people.
Yeah, I don't think so. I could see Brock.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Goldberg could. I don't think his title reign really drew much. Not to mention, they asked him to carry the title longer when Roman was out of WrestleMania.
I was just going to say, I think the whole him having the title thing was, oh shit, we're thrown in a corner. What do we do?
Yeah.
Just roll with what we got.
Yeah, I think they're realizing like they got to go with people. But then again, you don't know. When Roman's gone, a couple other big names are gone. I wouldn't put it past them. I would hope not. I would hope they wouldn't, but I wouldn't put it past them.
I will put it on record, though, that they could tell us tomorrow that, oh, my God, Lashley whooped Drew McIntyre's ass. Brock Lesnar came in out of nowhere, and he won the title. Okay, cool.
Yeah, you'd be cool with it.
I'd be the only one. I'd be okay with it.
I want to see Lashley take on Lesnar. I don't even care. I don't even think you need the belt. I say Drew beats Lashley. Drew does something else with the title. And then you can literally just have a feud between Brock and Lashley.
I'd love to see them
Yeah,
beat the
man.
shit out of each
That
other.
would. Oh God, who wouldn't want to see that? I don't know.
And you take it to
anybody.
levels like it was Lashley and Strowman when they went through the Raw LCD screen. Let's go.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
Let's go.
I mean, as
You can
big
get
as those
that out of
guys,
Brock
yeah,
and
they'd
Lashley.
have to destroy some scenery. They freaking they ram each other into like a car, and the back, like the opposite end of it, just blows the doors out or something. You know,
Right,
like,
right.
They'd have to do something like comic book level. That'd be pretty cool.
I'd be in.
I wonder who could Drew face. He already beat Seth. Keep Seth out. Andrade's losing to Apollo too much now to just throw him. Damn, do they have any other big names that Drew could go against? Who's on the Raw roster right now? Jesus, it feels so depleted. This is crazy. Like, you got Kevin Owens out there. You could have him. Kevin Owens. Let me see really quick. Let's fantasy book Drew McIntyre's next opponent, and we'll call it a day. WWE Raw roster. When was this updated? Jesus. Well, okay, so here we go. You got, let's see, Big Show? No. Bobby Lashley? No, we said no. He'll move on from Bobby. Jinder Mahal? Maybe. Not saying Jinder would even look like he's going to beat it, but I could be there.
Seb would be about it.
Yeah, I'd be about that. Sebastian would be about it. I'm good on Randy Orton going after the title. Jesus, that's really it. Samoa Joe, but he's injured. There's really nobody on Raw that seems too exciting right now. Yeah, I'd honestly, out of the entire roster, Jinder Mahal strikes me as like the most. No offense to Jinder, I'm sorry, man. No offense, bro. Yeah, Jinder versus Drew. You have the 3-man band. Have Heath Slater come back, bring him back in, and have him be the special guest referee. I'd be about it.
Was that the I Got Kids guy?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, bring him back. He's got
Bring
kids.
him
He
back,
needs
man.
money.
They were part of a faction called 3-Man Band. They all essentially played air guitars.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. All right, Rob. Hey, man, thank you for joining me. I know you got to go to bed.
Yeah, buddy. Thank you, listeners. Thank you, chat. Thank you for interacting. It always makes it so much better.
Yeah, it's always good.
And anybody out there lurking, lurkers' lives matter too. Just saying. Just throwing that out there.
Rob, you get some sleep. We'll
Yeah,
go
buddies.
ahead. Make sure you guys tune in to AEW this week. We're that Rob and Kevin host, and you guys have that guest coming back from the Botched Finish, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then of course, like we stated earlier, man, tune into NXT, catch Vince and RN. They have a special guest coming in. I'm sorry I don't have their name on hand, but we'll make sure to post it on the Twitter. Speaking of which, yeah, follow us at SmackDraw Pod, myself at the Kai Tai Show, Rob at 2 Words Can't See Me. And
Yeah,
then,
buddies.
Go check out WrestlingNewsWorld.com while you're at it, man. But like always, until next time, you guys have a good one.
Peace out.